What's going on, baseball fans? How are you doing? So all the talk lately is Juan Soto, and MLB.com has come up with some trade proposals. So in this video, I'm going to review those trades. Let's go talk about it. Before we get started, if you are new to the channel and you're looking for more baseball news and content, think about subscribing down below. Hit the like button, hit the bell button, hit the share button, hit all the buttons. Okay, so here we go. 7 potential Juan Soto trade proposals. How am I going to analyze these trades? Well, I'm going to use Baseball Trade Values, the best baseball trade simulator out there. Let's get to the first trade. Let's start off with the New York Mets. In this trade, the Mets are getting Juan Soto, and for the Nationals, they're going to be getting left-handed pitcher David Peterson, catching prospect Francisco Alvarez, who is their number 2 prospect on MLB Pipeline, Brett Baty, who is the Major League Baseball number 20 prospect overall. He's a third baseman, can also play some outfield. Shortstop prospect Ronnie Mauricio, he's number 52 in the top 100, and Alex Ramirez, outfield prospect, he is number 87 overall. If we take a look at the trade on Baseball Trade Values, as you can see, the Mets not giving up quite enough here. Now, if you take a look with Alvarez, he is leading the way in terms of value. Brett Baty is not very far behind. Mauricio, Ramirez, I think those are solid additions here, but I don't think the Nationals would really care to have David Peterson. I think for the Nationals, they're looking to get as many prospects as you can. And in this deal, there would be no bad contract attached with Juan Soto. So you wouldn't have to put Corbin, you wouldn't have to put Strasburg. And without those guys, you are actually looking pretty close. If we take Peterson out of this deal, Peterson has around $6 million worth of value. If, let's say, you swap in maybe someone like a Mark Vientos, well, now you're actually getting pretty close. You're getting 5 really good prospects here. Now, the only sticking point I could be seeing here, do the Mets care about giving up pretty much every good piece of their farm system to be able to get Juan Soto? Would the Nationals want to deal him within the division? I don't know. There's some sticking points there, but we do know with the Mets, they have the money to sign him to an extension, and I think that's going to be a big deal when it comes to a team trading for Juan Soto. If they don't have the money to sign him long-term, then why give up all of your farm? I mean, sure, you would have Juan Soto for a couple of years, but then he goes to free agency. I would think the team that trades for him is going to want to give him a long-term extension. So with this trade, taking out Peterson and putting in Vientos, the Mets are actually pretty close here. Maybe you could throw in one more guy to kind of just close up that gap, but in the end, I think the Mets, if the Nationals are willing to play ball with them, I think the Mets could be a realistic spot for Juan Soto. Let's go to the crosstown rival New York Yankees. This would be a nightmare for me as a Red Sox fan, but hey, what can you do? The Yankees, they would be getting Juan Soto. As for the Nationals, they're getting second baseman Gleyber Torres, left-handed pitcher Nestor Cortez, shortstop prospect Anthony Volpe. He is the number 1 prospect overall. He's number 8 on MLB Pipeline. Jason Dominguez, outfield prospect, the Martian, maybe the next Mike Trout one day. The number 39 prospect overall on MLB Pipeline, as well as left-handed pitching prospect Ken Waldichuk. He is number 72 overall. Now, this trade, it is just really far apart. I don't know what it is with these guys that, have the responsibility of coming up with a trade with Juan Soto to the New York Yankees. We saw it with The Athletic. If you didn't see that video, you can see that video up here, where in that video, the writer from The Athletic that had the Yankees trade, he had, Gleyber Torres, he had Anthony Volpe, and then one more piece. I can't even remember who Jason Dominguez. That was one of the worst trades I've ever seen. It was so far apart in terms of value. And we're seeing a similar thing here. What is up with these Yankee writers, coming up with these ideas? I don't know. Now, Nestor Cortez is interesting to me. I would imagine the Yankees would want to keep this guy. He's been doing really good for them all year. I understand if you're getting Juan Soto, yeah, but I don't know, Nestor Cortez, I don't see why the Nationals would really want him. He's older as well. I would imagine they want some more younger pieces to build up more for the future. Jason Dominguez, I think, is fine in this deal. Gleyber Torres, I mean, sure, but to me, I don't know, the best pieces in this deal, in my opinion, are Volpe, and then Waldichuk is a nice piece. But as you can see, Waldichuk, he doesn't have a lot of value, right around $10 million. Volpe would definitely be the star of the show in this trade. But with the Yankees, the only way you're going to be able to get a deal done with just their prospects, there's not enough value there to close the gap. They would have to take on the remaining salary of Patrick Corbin, or at least take on a ton of it. Now, if you throw in Corbin here, well, you're really closing the gap in terms of value. But for the Nationals, I don't see them really liking this package very much. I think with the Yankees, you could maybe mix in a couple of different guys. Again, you do have Volpe here. I mean, I would want to include someone like Pereira. I mean, I would imagine maybe they would even want Peraza here as well. I think for the Yankees, they're actually going to have a bit of a tough time. I could just see the Nationals seeing better packages from other teams. So in the end, the original proposed deal, I'm giving that a thumbs down. I thought that was pretty terrible. I'm not saying it's impossible for the Yankees to get a deal done, but in the end, I think it's going to be very tough for them. Let's head out west to the Dodgers. In this trade, the Dodgers are getting Juan Soto, Patrick Corbin, and cash. And for the Nationals, they're getting Dustin May, Bobby Miller, who is the number 26 overall prospect, one of the Dodgers' top prospects as of right now. I believe number 2, right behind Diego Cartaya. Outfield prospect, Andy Pages, number 47 overall in MLB Pipeline. Miguel Vargas, he's number 70. And James Outman, the Dodgers' number 17 prospect. Now, the one thing I don't like about this trade, first off, is I don't think the Dodgers are going to want to give up both May and Miller. I could see them giving up one, but I don't see them giving up both. Outman, I've been seeing Outman as a possible candidate, you know, in these kind of trades, but he doesn't have a lot of value. I like Miller, Pages, and Vargas. I would be more willing to give up Miller because May has actually shown what he can do in the major leagues. He's off right now with Tommy John, but he will be back eventually. But to me, I would rather give up Miller. So let's take out May here. And that's going to be taking out right around $28 million worth of value. But now you could include someone like Cartaya, where Cartaya, yeah, he is a catching prospect. And the Nationals do have Keiber Ruiz. You can always figure something out there. You know, Cartaya, maybe you could move Keiber Ruiz off of catcher. I mean, either or. You could do either one. But to me, I think the Dodgers, they're going to have to part with him because he has the most value in terms of prospects. And now with this trade, you're actually getting pretty close. With the Dodgers, for the cash that they would be having to take on, or that the Nationals would be sending over, I put about half of what Patrick Corbin is owed, so I don't know if that would be the right dollar amount. But with this trade here, you are still a little bit apart. Maybe you could take out Outman. Like I said, he has around $2 million worth of value. And just swap in a different prospect. If the Nationals did want another pitcher, maybe you could do someone like a Landon Knack or a Bruns. Maybe you could switch in Amaya. Maybe you can throw in Ramos, another outfield prospect. Maybe even someone like Pepio if they did want another pitcher. So if you put in Pepio here, you're pretty close now in terms of value. So the Dodgers, they have money for days, and that maybe could be a good spot for Patrick Corbin where they've taken some of these pitchers that have struggled and helped turn them around. I definitely think the Dodgers could be a realistic possibility for Juan Soto. Let's go to the division rival San Diego Padres. In this trade, they're getting Juan Soto, and for the Nationals, they're going to be getting C.J. Abrams, Mackenzie Gore, Adrian Morejon, Robert Hassel III, and Joshua Mears. Robert Hassel III is the number 23 prospect overall in the top 100. Joshua Mears is the Padres' number 8 prospect. As you can see here, this is very far apart. The Padres, they're getting way more value here, and the Nationals, they're behind here, right around 43 million. I like Abrams, Gore, and Hassel. I think you could get a deal done without Gore, but I think for the Padres, they're going to have to beef up this package a little bit more. The one advantage the Padres do have is they have a major league ready guy that you could send back to the Nationals that could replace Soto in their outfield in Trent Grisham. And if you throw in Grisham and maybe take out Mears, you're getting a little closer now, 154.5 million. So roughly a little below 20 million. So this is where with the Padres, you could either go a couple of different ways. You can include maybe someone like a Jackson Merrill. That closes the gap a lot. And if it's not Merrill, maybe you could put James Wood. I mean, that right there, a deal done. 6 prospects for Juan Soto. That is a lot of prospects. Maybe you could take out Morejon here, and then you got a pretty, almost a dead even trade here. I mean, this is almost as even as it gets. So maybe a package like this could get it done. Maybe if the Padres don't want to give up Gore, maybe the Nationals could maybe send over Patrick Corbin instead if the Padres are willing to take on his contract. That could definitely help in terms of getting a deal done as well. But for the Padres, one sticking point has always been that luxury tax line. They don't want to go over it. But maybe if it is for someone like Juan Soto, you can make an exception for that. The Padres, they got some money there. They could definitely sign him long term. I think for the Padres, they're kind of right in the middle. I definitely think they could go after Juan Soto, Will they get a deal done? I'm not quite sure. They do have the pieces to get it done. Would they be this motivated to get a deal done, though? I'm not quite sure. We're going to have to wait and see. But I think the Padres, you have to consider them as a threat. Staying in the National League West, we got the San Francisco Giants. Could they have their next Barry Bonds? Let's look at the trade. The Giants are going to be getting Juan Soto. The Nationals would be getting a package of Logan Webb, Marco Luciano, the number 9 prospect overall in MLB pipeline. Kyle Harrison, left-handed pitching prospect. He is number 25. Outfield prospect, Luis Matos. He's number 65 overall. And Heliot Ramos, the Giants' number 5 prospect. If we actually look at this deal, the Giants are giving up way too much here. It's just way too much. And the one thing I don't like about this deal from the Giants' point of view is giving up Logan Webb. To me, I'm not giving up Logan Webb. This is my guy for years to come. I'm not comparing him to this picture, but that's like the Red Sox giving up Pedro Martinez in a deal. I'm just not doing it. Logan Webb, that's going to be my guy for years to come. I'm not giving him up. So let's take out Logan Webb here. And now you're looking at around $50 million worth of value apart. Maybe in this deal, you are sending back a couple of outfield prospects. Maybe you could send back, I don't know, he's a little on the older side. Maybe something like a Mike Yastrzemski. Maybe you could do Austin Slater. There are some options here for the Giants. Or they could take back, maybe they could throw in one more prospect and they can take back Patrick Corbin. I don't know. The Giants, it seems like they're trying to be a little more frugal with money. I mean, they have given out some contracts, but would they sign Juan Soto to a huge extension? I don't know about that. Would they want to blow up their farm like this? I mean, they'd be giving up all their best pieces. I don't see the Giants doing it. I definitely think it's fun to think about Juan Soto in a Giants uniform. Feels like, man, ever since the days of Barry Bonds, they haven't really had like a prolific, I mean, besides Buster Posey, like a prolific player like Barry Bonds. So it would be kind of cool to see Soto there, but I just don't think the Giants are going to do it, to be completely honest. Staying out west, but in the American League, the Seattle Mariners. Could you imagine Julio Rodriguez and Juan Soto, the 2 finalists from the Home Run Derby, in the same lineup? Are you kidding me? The Mariners in this deal would be getting Juan Soto. The Nationals would be getting a package of George Kirby, Jared Kelenic, Noelvi Marte, Harry Ford, Emerson Hancock, and left-handed pitching prospect Juan Pinto. He is the number 26 prospect overall. He wasn't in the system, hasn't been added yet, so instead I just put $2 million worth of value. The guys around that range in their prospects tend to be right around that value, so I just put $2 million for his value for now. As you can see here, the total values are apart, 176.8 to 132.2, so the Mariners are not giving up nearly enough here. Now, like I've mentioned with a couple of trades already, you have a couple of options. Could you take on someone like a Patrick Corbin, take on some of that contract? If you did, I would imagine you're going to have to at least add maybe one more guy here. Maybe Arroyo, a shortstop prospect who has really shot up in their system. Maybe someone like Matt Brash could be a possibility as well. I definitely think the Mariners could be a contender for him. They're not afraid to go make some deals out there. Could they make a huge deal like this? They're hot lately. And can you imagine they put Juan Soto into this lineup after getting back into this playoff race? Oh my goodness, just thinking about it. That's pretty scary if you ask me. Last but not least, the Tampa Bay Rays. Oh my goodness, Juan Soto in a Rays uniform. That's just... But here's the deal. The Nationals, for Juan Soto, they're going to be getting Randy Arozarena, Josh Lowe, Taj Bradley, Curtis Mead, and Seth Johnson. The scary thing about the Rays here is they could pull a deal off if they really wanted to. They got prospects for days. Yes, they would be having to part with Arozarena, major league ready guy who's done a lot for them. But to me, if you're getting Juan Soto in this lineup, I mean, my goodness. I feel like the Rays won't do this in the end, but just the thought that they could do it if they really wanted to. Now, one thing that maybe makes me speculate that maybe they've at least thought about it is, remember, they were in on the Freddie Freeman talks in the offseason. They were willing to spend a little bit of cash. Now, obviously, Freddie Freeman is not going to be wasn't going to be getting a contract the level that Juan Soto will be getting. I don't know. Tampa, man, they're looking to go to a new stadium. Juan Soto in a Rays uniform, maybe looking to try and get people's butts into the seats. Juan Soto in a Rays uniform with a new stadium. I mean, I don't know. The Rays, they've done some crazy things in that organization, and they've definitely gone against the grain. This would be an against the grain kind of a move for them. I wouldn't count them out, to be completely honest. It's very unlikely, but the fact that they could get this done rather easily, and they would take a dent in that farm system, but the fact that they could do it, that's pretty scary, and pretty easily too. They got prospects for days, but I'll probably say no on the Rays, but the thought of it, I wouldn't count them out necessarily. For this article overall, I feel like a lot of these trades really missed the mark. I feel like a lot of them were just too far apart. The one that seemed to make the most sense to me was the Mets trade. I like the package going back to the Nationals. It's a good package of prospects. The Mets would be able to sign him long-term with all the money that they have. And, you know, the Mets, I mean, again, it might sound crazy trading Soto within the division, but if the Nationals like the package they would be receiving, it's a pretty good package, then I could see it happening. The most intriguing one was the last one overall with the Tampa Bay Rays. They're probably not going to do it, but the fact that they could get a deal done and not really have any kind of a dent in their farm system at all. I mean, sure, you would be giving up a Rosarina, but you're replacing him with Soto. The Rays won't do it, but in the end, I find it just really intriguing. I like the idea of the Mariners here. I don't particularly agree with maybe the trade here. I think they would have to take on Corbin to close up the gap or add in another pretty solid prospect as well to get a deal done. The Mariners I do find intriguing, but overall in this article, I do feel like a lot of these trades really missed the mark, especially the New York Yankees one, the Giants one. I don't see them giving up Logan Webb. There were some teams that also I feel like could have been included in this article. Teams like maybe like the White Sox, if they wanted to give up Luis Robert or Dylan Cease, maybe they could get a deal done. They don't have a big farm system, so you would have to give up a highly valuable major league piece to possibly start the conversation. A team like the Blue Jays, they've been wheeling and dealing. You would have to part with Gabriel Moreno. I don't know if they have enough prospects to get it done. Maybe they could take on Corbin. Maybe that could do something here. My Red Sox, I don't think they're going to do it, but they do have some pretty nice prospects at the top of their system now. I don't see Chaim Bloom doing it, though, mainly just because they're still rebuilding that farm. You know, they've kind of gotten away from giving out huge contracts. I mean, look at the whole Mookie Betts thing from a couple of years ago. They could have paid him, and they didn't, so maybe it could be different with a Juan Soto, but the one team they left off in this article, the St. Louis Cardinals. I feel like the Cardinals are actually one of the better fits out there. They, I feel like, have the right blend when it comes to prospects that they could give up. They have a willingness, they have shown a willingness to spend money in the past going after, you know, guys like Giancarlo Stanton, who had a big contract. They've made big trades before for Nolan Arenado, Paul Goldschmidt. Now, those are not the caliber players or the caliber or the level of a Juan Soto, but they have made big trades in the past. You know, they did go after David Price not too long ago in the free agent market, so they have shown a willingness to spend some money. I feel like the Cardinals definitely could be one of the better fits for Juan Soto out of all of these teams, so it was a little surprising that he wasn't included in this article. But those are just my thoughts. Let me know what you think down below. Which one of these trades from MLB.com did you like the most? Which team do you feel like got snubbed from this article? Let me know what you think down below in the comments. But that's all I have for right now. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you next time.